Hey guys, winter is upon us, and if you're like me, you've had to bring some of your plants from their outdoor vacation indoors. There are 4 things I'm going to be talking to you about. That is temperature, humidity, light, and growth rate. So we're going to go through each one of these individually. So with temperature, this time of year we're running our heaters. If we have central heat in our home, it's a lot easier to regulate the temperature for our houseplants. But if you have more like space heaters or fireplaces or whatever, and you get those cold pockets or drafty windows, like with older homes, this can affect our plants. Some plants are very cold tender, and they do not like to have that cold drafty air on them. We need to know our plants and rearrange accordingly if we need to. The second thing is humidity. With this northern cold winter air, it is much drier than the south humid air from the Gulf. So not only is the outside more dry, which makes the inside more dry, our heaters, our HVAC heaters, dry out the air even more. And most houseplants are tropical plants, therefore they really like the high humidity. So they may suffer from that. You'll want to look out for like brown tips or the leaves getting dry and crispy. There are some ways that we can address this. You can group your plants together, like several little ones, like I have several right here, that group them together, and that will actually increase the humidity just like around the plants themselves. Next way is putting your plants on pebble trays. That's where you have like a waterproof tray, you fill it with rocks, and then you fill it with water, and then you set the pot on top of it. Note that the pot itself is not submerged in water because that would cause root rot, but it's resting on top of the rocks, and that constant presence of water there just adds some humidity around the plant itself. I don't actually use this method just because I don't really have a reason why. You can also use a humidifier or like a diffuser, like what you would use with essential oils, and but just diffuse water, and that will help, especially in like localized areas. I have done that before. I do have a cool mist humidifier that I use sometimes, and then I do have like a little diffuser that I sometimes use. I use it if I start having an issue with humidity levels. Next is leaving a watering can filled with water with your plants. Just the presence of water being there is going to help increase the humidity just around your plants. The last one I listed is misting your plants. I don't use this because I mean, it's doable if you have the time, but you'd have to mist them like all the time, like every time you walk by or something, and that is just not feasible for me with 2 children under 3 and under. So that is not feasible for me, but if it works for you, fantastic. For me, I use the grouping method like I have here, and I also have it over on my other dresser there, and I also use the watering can method. I bought for my birthday, I got a gift card, and so I bought this really cute watering can. It's from IKEA, and so I filled this with water and keep it with my humidity loving plants. All right, next topic, the light. Winter sun is, we just get less of it, both in the amount of time we get, as you know, it gets darker earlier, as well as just the intensity of the sun. Since we're in the northern hemisphere here in Texas, the sun doesn't go straight up in the sky like it did before. So it's just not as intense of sunlight. So you'll notice that where direct sunlight comes in your windows will change during this time of year. Like you would get direct sun on that portion of the wall, and now it's on the other portion of the wall because the sun has literally shifted in the sky. It doesn't go way up anymore. It kind of does more of a rainbow arch across. And so, for instance, southern facing windows get much more direct sunlight during this time of year, which is good because when you're having to bring all the plants in, they like that extra sunlight. But some plants are sensitive to too much direct light and then will get burned. So again, know your plants, what they like and what they're sensitive to. Sunburn marks look like brown, dry, crispy splotches on, or spots on the leaves themselves. So keep a lookout for that. All right, the last bit is the growth rate. In the winter, plants slow in their growth and they go a little bit more dormant. So naturally, they don't need as much water because they're not putting out new growth. They don't need as much fertilizer because they're not putting out as much growth. And so you want to pull back on that, on both of those, especially succulents and cactus. With succulents and cactus, you barely have to water them in the winter time at all, like maybe once a month, maybe. This is a really fun time of year for me because so many plants get to come inside and have their little indoor stay. And so when it's so cold out and we can't go outside, there's still a little bit of outside inside. So I actually really enjoy the winter months for houseplant reasons. Some of my big plants, like my big majesty palms, they'll go back outside when it gets warmer. I have a yucca palm that's in my bedroom here, and that will go back outside once the warmer months hit. So I definitely encourage putting plants that can go outside, put them outside in the right conditions during the growing season if possible, because it will encourage them to grow strong. And if you've got strong plants, they're not as susceptible to pests and disease. And that is another thing you need to think of. Just watch your plants, take a look at them. If you start seeing any funny looking bugs or like fuzzy things or webby, like spider webby type stuff, just keep an eye out, because with it being drier in the house, sometimes that can encourage, like for instance, spider mites. And so we just want to keep a general eye on our plants, see if they've got any pests going on. And with it being a slower growth rate, it can sometimes attract those pests. And the last thing you want is an outbreak of a pest or a disease, and you have all your plants grouped together and then all of them get infested. So just once in a while, take a look at all your plants, especially if you're going through and watering or cleaning leaves or whatever. Take care and look underneath your leaves in the little like notches of where a stem meets the trunk, like the main part, the growing part of your plant. Check the soil, kind of stir things up, see if there's any fungus gnats. Well, that wraps it up. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please hit like. That is helpful. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. And if you could subscribe, it really helps me out a lot. I want to try to help out as much as I can with your houseplant growing or plant growing experience in general. Learn from my failings and pitfalls and that sort of thing. So I will see you next time. Bye.